You've always felt a step ahead, haven't you? While everyone else is focused on the here and now, you're playing chess with the future, seeing patterns and possibilities that nobody else gets. This strategic mind is your superpower. But it's also why you feel so different, and sometimes completely isolated. If you've ever wondered why your brain seems to be running on a totally different operating system, you're in the right place. Today, we're breaking down why your INTJ mindset sets you apart, and how your greatest strengths are also the source of your biggest challenges. See, being an INTJ, the architect or the strategist, isn't just a handful of personality quirks. It's a whole way of processing the world that's fundamentally different from most people. Your mind is driven by a powerful combo of cognitive functions, mainly your dominant introverted intuition, NI, and your co-pilot, extraverted thinking, TE. This pairing makes you a future-focused, relentlessly logical person. It's why you value a grand strategy, independence, and pure efficiency over social niceties, or what feels good in the moment. But this isn't just another list of strengths and weaknesses. We're going to explore how your mind is wired as a complete integrated system. We'll look at the double-edged sword that is the INTJ mindset. First, we'll get into the superpowers, the things that make you a visionary and a force to be reckoned with. We'll look at the mechanics behind your ability to practically see the future, build complex systems, and stand by your beliefs with a will of steel. Then, we'll flip the coin. We're going to talk about the serious challenges that come directly from those gifts. We'll get real about the burden of seeing what others don't, the reasons behind the tired stereotype of the cold INTJ, and the constant, draining fight of living in a world that often feels too loud, too chaotic, and way too focused on trivial things. The goal here is total understanding. By the end of this, you won't just see the separate parts of your personality. You'll understand how they lock together to create the complex, powerful, and often misunderstood engine that is your mind. You'll see that your challenges aren't random flaws, but the shadows cast by your brightest lights. So let's start deconstructing the architect's blueprint. Part 1. The superpowers, what sets you apart for the better. Point 1. The visionary architect, the power of NI. At the very heart of the INTJ mindset is your primary function, Introverted Intuition, or NI. This isn't just a preference, it's the lens you see reality through. To say you see the big picture is a massive understatement. While others see trees, you see the entire ecosystem, the roots, the soil, the weather patterns, and where the forest will be in 50 years. NI is a pattern recognition engine that's always running quietly in the background. What does this feel like? It's like a constant stream of aha moments. You could be reading an article on economics, listening to music, and thinking about a work problem, when suddenly, click, your mind connects these totally random things into one elegant theory that seems to pop out of nowhere. It's not magic. It's NI gathering huge amounts of abstract data from your subconscious and handing the finished product to your conscious mind. This is why you often have strong gut feelings or just know things without being able to explain the step-by-step logic. The logic is there, but it was processed unconsciously at a speed you can't even track. This is what makes you a true visionary architect. You don't just think about the future, you practically live in it, running complex simulations of how things could play out, complete with backup plans for your backup plans. When your team is talking about step 1 of a project, you're already on step 27, thinking about the market shift in 6 months and how your competitor is going to react. This is that chess master analogy you always hear. You aren't just 1 move ahead, you're 10 moves ahead. seeing the whole branching tree of possibilities and steering everyone toward the best outcome. This superpower is what allows INTJ to be incredible innovators. You aren't bound by the way things have always been done. In fact, that phrase probably irritates you on a spiritual level. Your mind naturally takes systems apart, finds their flaws, and builds a completely new, better model. That's why you find so many INTJ in fields that demand foresight and complexity, like science, tech, and engineering. You're the ones who see the blueprint of the skyscraper before the ground is even broken. And this isn't just for huge projects. It's in everything you do. It's how you plan a vacation to optimize for both experience and efficiency. It's how you approach your own growth, setting a long-term goal and working backward to create a detailed action plan. You live in a world of symbols and patterns. While everyone else is navigating with a street map, you've got a satellite view of the entire globe, seeing the destination and the most direct, even if unconventional, path to get there. This ability to detach from the present and rise to a higher perspective is the foundational superpower of the INTJ. Point 2. The efficiency engine, the drive of TE. If your intuition, NI, is the architect who designs the blueprint, your secondary function, extraverted thinking, TE, is the master builder who makes it happen with almost ruthless efficiency. TE is how you interact with the world. It takes the abstract visions from NI and translates them into logical, actionable steps. It's the engine driving you to organize your world, build systems, and get things done. Extraverted thinking is obsessed with one question: does it work? It's empirical, objective, and doesn't care about feelings. It wants to bring order to the outside world by arranging everything in the most logical way possible to get the job done. This is why you have such a low tolerance for inefficiency or illogical choices. When you see someone doing a task in a clunky, roundabout way, it probably feels like nails on a chalkboard. Your brain instantly starts re-engineering the process, stripping out useless steps to streamline it. This TE drive is what makes you so decisive. While others are paralyzed by options or swayed by emotional arguments, you cut right through the noise. You gather the data, weigh it against the goal, and make the call. You trust your own rational judgment above all. This isn't arrogance, even if it looks that way. It's a deep confidence in logic and evidence. You don't need a committee to sign off on your plan. If it's sound, you execute. Professionally, this makes INTJ incredible leaders and project managers. You don't lead with hype speeches, you lead with competence. You give a clear vision thanks to NI, and then lay out a logical, step-by-step plan to get there with TE. You define the roles, set the goals, and hold everyone, especially yourself, to a high standard. A team led by an INTJ knows exactly what to do and why. They're motivated by the sheer competence of their leader. You do your best work when you're given a complex problem to solve, and a boss who's smart enough to give you the objective and then get out of your way. This efficiency engine also fuels your hunger for knowledge. You see the world as a giant system to be understood. You devour books and documentaries not just for fun, but to build your mental model of how things work. Knowledge isn't just nice to have, it's a tool. The more you understand, the better you can operate. This is why INTJ often become deep experts in their fields. A surface-level understanding is never enough. You have to master the whole system. This is the force that turns your visions into reality and makes you the person who can take a chaotic mess and bring it to order. Point 3. The unshakable conviction, the anchor of FI. Beneath the architect and the builder lies a quieter, but just as powerful, function. Your tertiary introverted feeling, or FI. This is probably the most misunderstood part of the INTJ personality. Because your top two functions are so focused on impersonal logic, people often assume you don't have values or emotions. Nothing could be more wrong. FI is the source of your unshakable conviction. It's your internal, personal, moral compass. Unlike its counterpart, Extraverted Feeling, FE, which is all about group harmony and social rules, FI is intensely personal and deep. It creates a rich, but very private, inner world of values. These values aren't borrowed from society. They're forged inside you through reflection. They're the bedrock of your character. While your thinking function, TE, handles how to do something, your feeling function, FI, is busy asking why. Does this align with my core principles? Is this a path of integrity? This is the function that fuels your fierce independence. You have an almost allergic reaction to doing something just because everyone else is. Any rule or tradition has to pass the inspection of your internal logic, TE, and your internal values, FI. If it fails either test, you'll reject it, no questions asked. This is why you often find yourself questioning authority or the status quo. Your loyalty isn't to a group, it's to your principles. This conviction is a quiet superpower. It doesn't make a big show. From the outside, it can be nearly invisible. Because you process your values internally, you don't wear them on your sleeve. You could be feeling a powerful sense of injustice, but your external expression, run by TE, stays calm and controlled. People might only see this FI-driven conviction when a line gets crossed. When one of your core principles is violated, an INTJ can become an immovable object, defending their position with surprising fire. It's in these moments that the depth of your inner world flashes into view. FI also plays a huge role in your relationships. You may have a small social circle, but your loyalty to those you let in is absolute. Your friendships aren't built on convenience. They're built on a deep, value-based connection and mutual respect. You're the friend who will tell the hard truth, not to be cruel, but because your integrity demands it. You show love not with poetic words, but with unwavering loyalty. Your FI is the anchor that ensures your powerful vision and efficient strategies are aimed at goals that actually mean something to you. Part 2. The profound challenges, what sets you apart in a difficult way. Point 1. The burden of foresight, the dark side of NI. We've talked about your intuition, NI, as a superpower, letting you see the future with stunning clarity. But every light casts a shadow, and the shadow of NI is the heavy burden of foresight. This isn't separate from your strength, it's a direct result of it. Living 10 steps ahead of everyone else in a world stuck in the present is a constant source of frustration and isolation. Imagine you're the only one in a room who sees that the ceiling is about to collapse. You try to warn everyone, pointing out the subtle cracks and the faint groaning sound. But they're all busy with their own conversations. They look at you blankly. They can't see what you see. They tell you to relax, to stop being so negative. So you're left with a terrible choice. Do you wear yourself out trying to convince them of a danger they can't see? Or do you just quietly save yourself? This is a daily reality for an INTJ. This burden of foresight shows up as a deep, chronic impatience. Meetings that should have been an email, conversations that go in circles, people who just won't see the obvious conclusion you reached 10 minutes ago. These aren't just annoying. They are mentally exhausting. It feels like you're constantly waiting for the world to catch up. This can lead to a bit of cynicism, a quiet belief that most people are willingly blind. This future focus can also make you feel disconnected from the present. While your mind is building a 5-year plan, you might completely miss a social cue, forget to eat, or be totally oblivious to your surroundings. This creates that absent-minded professor stereotype. Your mind isn't absent, it's just intensely focused on a different, more abstract reality. This makes it tough to connect with people who are more grounded in the sensory world. They want to talk about their weekend, and you want to talk about the geopolitical impact of a new technology. The gap can feel like a canyon. This also fuels the infamous INTJ analysis paralysis. Because you can see so many possible outcomes and potential failures, you can get trapped in a loop of endless planning. You want to find the perfect strategy before you take a single step. This perfectionism, born from wanting to honor your clear vision, can ironically lead to you doing nothing at all. The fear is that once you start building your grand vision in the messy real world, it will be compromised. It's lonely being the only one who sees the whole chessboard. Point 2. The cold exterior, the misunderstanding of TE and FI. One of the most persistent and painful stereotypes for an INTJ is being seen as cold, arrogant, and emotionless. This isn't just made up. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of how your mind is wired, specifically the clash between your objective thinking, TE, and your private feeling, FI. Your main tool for interacting with the world is TE, your efficiency engine. And TE, as we know, is impersonal, logical, and only cares about what works. So when someone brings you an idea, your brain immediately starts to stress test it. You poke holes in it and search for logical flaws. You aren't doing this to be mean. You're doing it to help. In your mind, the most respectful thing you can do for an idea is to see if it's strong enough to survive. But to the other person, who might be emotionally attached to their idea, it feels like a personal attack. They hear criticism while you think you're problem-solving. Your bluntness is just a side effect of your efficiency. This gets worse because of how you handle emotions. Your inner world is governed by FI, meaning your feelings are incredibly deep, but also incredibly private. You feel things very strongly, but you process them internally. You don't feel the need to broadcast your emotional state, and doing so can feel weird and vulnerable. The result is what others see as a flat or unreadable expression. Inside, a storm might be raging, but on the outside, your TE-driven face stays calm and controlled. This creates a huge disconnect. Other people, especially those who prefer harmony, build connection by sharing emotions. You build connection by sharing ideas and showing competence. When you don't mirror their emotional energy, they read it as disinterest or arrogance. When you offer a logical solution to a personal problem, they see a lack of empathy. When you're actually offering the most valuable help you know how to give, a practical solution. This can lead to a vicious cycle. You try to connect with your natural tools, logic, and ideas, and you're met with offense. You conclude that social interactions are illogical and draining, so you retreat. This just reinforces the idea that you're aloof. It's a heavy burden because it completely misrepresents who you are inside. You're not emotionless. Your emotions are just in a vault. And you're not arrogant. You're just confident in your logic. Point 3. The struggle with the real world. The tyranny of inferior S's. The final big challenge is the INTJ's often tense relationship with the physical, sensory, real world. This struggle comes from your fourth and final function, inferior extraverted sensing, or SE. In your mind's hierarchy, SE is the least developed and most unconscious function. It's the polar opposite of your dominant NI. While NI is abstract and future-focused, SE is all about the concrete here and now sensory data. The sights, sounds, and physical realities of life. Because your mental energy is almost entirely focused on your inner world, your connection to the sensory world can be weak and unreliable. This shows up in a few classic ways. The most common is just being oblivious to your surroundings. You might be so lost in thought that you walk right past a friend on the street or can't remember any details about a room you just left. Your mind is designed to filter out sensory noise to focus on the abstract signal. This can make tasks that require paying close attention to physical details feel incredibly draining. This struggle with SE is also the root of your legendary hatred for small talk. Small talk is a SE activity. It's about sharing surface-level observations about the weather or sports. To an NI-dominant mind, this is torture. It feels pointless and like a huge waste of mental energy. Your brain is a supercomputer designed to solve complex problems. Being forced to discuss traffic is like using it to do basic math. It's not just boring, it's deeply unsatisfying. The dark side of inferior SE can also pop up in more destructive ways, especially when you're stressed. When an INTJ is in the grip of their inferior function, they can become uncharacteristically impulsive. After suppressing the sensory world for so long, the pendulum can swing wildly to the other extreme. This might look like binge-watching TV for hours, overeating, or making big, impulsive purchases. It's like your neglected say function erupts and demands attention in a clumsy, overwhelming way. Learning to get along with SE is a lifelong journey for the INTJ. It means consciously finding healthy ways to ground yourself in the physical world. This doesn't mean you have to become a party animal. It could be a physical hobby like hiking or martial arts, practicing mindfulness, or just taking a moment to notice the details around you without judgment. By developing a healthier relationship with the real world, you can bridge the gap between your inner vision and outer reality, making you not just a visionary, but a more effective and balanced creator. As we've walked through the architecture of the INTJ mind, one thing becomes crystal clear. Your greatest strengths and your biggest challenges are two sides of the same coin. Your visionary foresight is what lets you build the future, but it's also what makes you feel so isolated. Your efficiency engine is what lets you achieve incredible things, but it's also what creates the cold exterior others misunderstand. To be an INTJ is to be a living paradox, a dreamer with a pragmatic streak, a private person who wants to change the world, a complex intellectual who craves simple elegance. For years, you might have felt these were flaws to be fixed, but you can't have one without the other. To get rid of your impatience would be to dull your foresight. To erase your bluntness would be to compromise your search for truth. The path forward isn't about fixing yourself. It's about integration. It's about learning to use your superpowers wisely and manage their challenges with grace. It's about building bridges between your world of patterns and the concrete world of other people. It's about accepting that your unique wiring isn't a mistake. It's a specialized toolset designed to see what others can't, build what doesn't exist, and follow the truth no matter where it leads. Your mindset sets you apart because you are designed to be apart, to stand at the edge of the present and look into the future. Embrace it. Embrace the complexity, the depth, and even the challenges. Your way of seeing the world isn't just different, it's necessary. In a world that's often lost in the noise, the clear, strategic mind of the INTJ is more valuable than ever. You are not weird. You are an architect. Now go build. The INTJ experience is deeply personal, but we all share these common threads. I'm curious, which part of this breakdown hit home for you the most? Was it the description of a superpower, like the visionary architect, that made you feel seen? Or was it exploring a challenge, like the burden of foresight, that really captured a struggle you've faced? Share your experience in the comments. Reading through the thoughts of fellow INTJ is one of the best ways to feel understood. And of course, if this was valuable to you, liking the video and subscribing means you won't miss our next deep dive.